つれづれなるままに、日暮らし、すずりに向かいて、心に移りゆくよしな仕事を、そこはかとなく書き作れば、怪しゅうこそ物苦しけれ。What a strange and elevated feeling I have when I have spent all day in front of my inkstone, with nothing else to do, jotting down whatever comes to my mind.
Hello everyone, I'm Mihoko. At the beginning, I recited the preface of the Japanese classic Essays in Idleness in Classic Words and English. Essays in Idleness is a collection of 243 essays, excluding the preface. It was written by a Buddhist priest, Kenko, about 700 years ago. Its topics are various. In this video, I'll introduce 11 essays. I hope you'll enjoy it.
The real name of a Buddhist priest, Kenko, is Urabe Kaneyoshi. Kenko comes from the phonetic reading of his given name, Kaneyoshi. It is not certain where and when Kenko was born and died. One popular theory is that he was born in 1283 and passed away in 1352. He lived during a period of great battles and instability. When the samurai warrior administration based in Kamakura collapsed, and two emperors subsequently established their own imperial courts in and around Kyoto. In his essays, he writes that he visited the district near Kamakura twice, so he must have interacted with samurai warriors. His family were hereditary Shinto priests of modest rank that served imperial court in Kyoto. Around the age of 30, he became a monk, but the reason is not clear. After that, he purchased a lot in Kyoto to establish a financial foundation. He still remained in the city and lived with a free mind that transcended the secular world. It is said that Essays in Idleness was written in his 30s and 40s. Today, it is considered as one of the three great essays in Japan, along with the Pillow Book and the Hojoki. During his lifetime, he was known as a poet, but his essays were not known. It was not until several hundred years after his death that it received much attention. Now, enjoy his essays. There is nothing more comforting than sitting alone under a lamp with open books and making friends with people from the past whom you have never met. In addition to several Chinese classics, our country has many inspiring books written by the former cultured people. Holy Priest Honen lived 150 years before Kenko's time. At that time, the country was transitioning from aristocratic government in Kyoto to the first samurai warrior government based in Kamakura, and the people were in the depths of despair due to many battles and natural disasters. People tried to seek salvation in Buddhism, but Buddhism those days was for a limited number of people, such as those who could become monks and practice or donate to temples and shrines. Reforming such old Buddhism, Holy Priest Honen founded the Japanese Pure Land Buddhism. In his doctrine, people can be reborn in the Pure Land, so-called the Paradise, simply by repeating the name of Buddha. His simple teachings were quickly accepted by people as salvation for all. Eventually, It spread to the aristocrats, warriors, and even to the emperor. Kenko wrote an anecdote about holy priest Honen. A certain man once asked the holy priest Honen, "Sometimes I become sleepy when chanting the prayer, and I neglect my devotions. How can I overcome this obstacle?" Honen answered, "Say the prayer as long as you are awake." Honen further said, "If you are certain you will be reborn in the paradise at death, your rebirth there is certain. If you are uncertain, your rebirth is uncertain." Honen added further, "Even if you doubt, chant the prayer and you will enter the paradise." All of his answers are precious teachings that move me. One high-ranking officer had a brother called High Priest Ryogaku. He was extremely short-tempered. As there was a large hackberry tree near his monastery, people nicknamed him the Hackberry Priest, thinking that the name was not appropriate for him. He was angry and cut down the tree. However, the stump was still there, so people called him the Stump Priest. He became even more angry and dug up the stump and threw it away. Then a large ditch remained. Everyone began to call him the Ditch Priest. In the Yanagihara district, there lived a priest known as the Rubbery Bishop. People gave him this nickname because he was frequently robbed. One official for security believed that white radish was a marvelous remedy for all kinds of diseases. He had eaten 2 great radishes in the morning for many years. One day, when the mansion was unguarded and empty, his enemies came surrounding it and attacked. However, 2 soldiers suddenly appeared from the building. They fought with no thought for their own lives and drove all the enemies completely back. Greatly astonished, the official for security asked the soldiers, "I have never seen both of you in this mansion. May I ask who you are?" "We are the 2 white radishes. We appreciate that you've had a great faith in us for such a long time." Saying that, the soldiers disappeared. His faith in radishes was so great that such a miracle might have occurred. A man who had just started to learn archery was aiming at a target with 2 arrows in his hand. Then his master told him, "A beginner should not hold 2 arrows. You'll be careless with the first arrow, rely on the second. Each time you should be determined to hit the target with a single arrow you shoot. Don't think you have one more." I wonder if there is anyone standing in front of his master with only 2 arrows would treat one of them carelessly. Yet, although he may not be aware of his any carelessness, his master notices it. This teaching applies to all matters. People who are learning to acquire something tend to think, "I'll study it later." In the evening they think, "I'll do it tomorrow morning." And the next morning they put it off to that evening. This is neglecting the present moment. Why should it be so difficult to do immediately what must be done now? I once asked the backgammon master for his secret to winning the game. He said, "Don't play to win, but play not to lose. Think about what moves would make you lose most quickly and avoid them. Choose a move that will make you lose as slowly as possible. This is a teaching of an expert in his field. If you rush to win, you may lose your cool and make a big mistake. This teaching also applies to how one should control his conduct and how a ruler should govern a country. A man who wastes his time on useless things can be said to be either foolish or irrational. Food, clothing, shelter, and medical care are essential for people. A man who cannot obtain these things in spite of seeking them is divided as poor, and a man who doesn't lack these things is rich. Asking for anything other than these four is extravagance. If he is content with the four things with a humble heart, then everyone can lead a happy life. The wise man would not leave a fortune behind after his death. If he has collected trivial things, it will be a shame to have them found. If the items are of great value, it will make people assume how much he must have been attached to those things. What is most disappointing is to feel the hearts of the deceased, who left behind so terribly many legacies and belongings. It is disgraceful for people to claim to be entitled to inherit and fight over it. If you have something you plan to give to someone after your death, it's better to give it to them while you are still alive. Some things are essential to the daily life, but it's best to live without other things. The lay priest Arimune, the Yin master, came up to the capital from Kamakura and made a visit on me. As soon as he entered my house gate, he said to me in a reproachful tone, "Your garden is unnecessarily big. It's outrageous and unacceptable. A master in the way of life should also strive to grow useful plants. Leave one narrow passage and turn the rest into a vegetable field." I realize it's true. It's useless not to make effective use of even a small site. One should grow edible plants and medicinal herbs. The year I turned 8 years old, I asked my father, "What kind of thing is a Buddha?" My father replied that a human becomes a Buddha. I asked again, "How does a human become a Buddha?" "By following the teachings of the Buddha," he said. I asked, "Who taught the Buddha?" He answered, "The Buddhas before him." I asked him again, "What sort of Buddha was the first one who began teaching?" At this point, he laughed and said, "I suppose he fell from the sky or sprang out of the ground." Later, my father told other people. My son drew me into a corner, and I couldn't answer him. But he was amused. This is the end of Essays in Idleness, Part 1.